Hello and welcome back to the Think Rugby podcast. This is season 2, episode 2. We have at the weekend witnessed some history. The Lions won against the Wallabies in a rather controversial fashion, but that's just the Lions for you. Yeah, I was struggling to watch it, Zav, because the internet was out for basically half of Orkney, Shetland and the Faroe Islands. I'll put something on the screen now, but yeah, did you catch it?
I caught it. I caught the game, thankfully. We'll leave this main talking point to a little bit later on. However, from a game perspective, just my entertainment perspective, I try to be as neutral as I can because I like Australia, but also Lions being like home, like sort of Scottish players playing this tour. I've been a bit more involved in the Lions kind of side this time round, but from that perspective, from a neutral perspective, very entertaining. Game of two halves almost. Couldn't even. If you told me at the start that Australia would be up 23 points to 5, up 18 points or something like that, at some one point in the game, I'd be saying you are having me on, especially after the performance that they put on the week before, where there was very little kind of go forward, not a lot going on in the backs. Tactic wise, just seemed to get kind of nullified by everything the Lions did in defence. Completely different. Well, I think mentality wise and just gameplay wise, it looked completely different compared to the week before this week. Okay, you had Will Skelton back in. Who else was introduced back in? Rob Valentini, two of the bigger kind of carriers, guys that will get you go forward, and also very experienced players. Yeah, that would be, well, in my opinion, Valentini touching a world class. Maybe not Will Skelton, but Will Skelton's Will Skelton, 6'10", hands like spades. He's a big boy, and when you've got boys like that on your team, kind of enforcers, it is going to make a difference, and it did. The one thing I'd like to, I'm not apologise about, but the 9-10 combo for Australia, Hooper and Lina, they fairly showed up. More particular in the scrum half department. Nice little sniping run for the try. Let me know what you thought of that try, because the folk are saying the referee got in the way, but for me there was no way, because I think it was Tide Furlong that I saw a Porter that had to try to get across to make the tackle, and Ty Furlong got sold the dream. So hats off to Hooper for that, for proving me wrong, and also Lina. He didn't have too shabby a game either. A bit more mature performance is what I would call it.
Yeah, I would agree with you. At the same time, I would also say that as good as the halfback pairing was, they were kind of outclassed again by Gibson Park and Russell. I mean, the rugby IQ is there to be seen.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. I think that was always a kind of a given. I mean, Lina, who's had a handful of caps against Russell, who's just, I mean, it's the best fly half in the world. Yeah, like it was always going to be a bit like, okay, what can he do to try keep up with like the standard of the halfback pairing that the Lions had? And I think going into the tournament, I don't even know why it was discussion, because you've got Gibson Park, who was clearly going to be scrum half, and Russell, who was clearly going to be some folk never didn't think it this way, but I don't know why, because Russell is the most mature, kind of experienced fly half by a good 7 years, if you want to put it like that, 7-8 years. He's got under his belt more than likes of Marcus Smith and likes of Finn Smith. So what parts of the game did you actually catch, Andy? If none, it's fine. I can keep rambling on, but I'm sure you've watched the highlights.
I had to obviously go to somewhere where I could get signal, and I've not had signal for the past fortnight now. Cheers, O2. I ended up going to the Delton Boating Club, and folks, if you've never been to Shetland before and you like your sailing, you best try and get a booking in there. Me and my girlfriend, we tried going to the pub, and they were just like, "Oh well, we not to get on it or anything, but purely like, yeah, let's go and watch a rugby." And they said, "Oh yeah, it's we cancelled our Sky subscription." I was like, "Oh, that's handy." And we don't open until 12, so you can't get in for the Wi-Fi. I'm like, that's
crazy.
so yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, no.
That's a
So
great
we,
shame.
we
Not a great week.
yeah, I managed to catch a very Sky Sports own stream on Saturday for the first half, and then in the second half we were feeling a bit peckish, so we went back to the same establishment, ordered some food. It was not great watching it on the phone compared to the TV, but
Mm-hmm.
better than nothing, and I witnessed history.
Exactly, and that's the main thing. Let's quickly discuss the try scorers. So, well, for me, the try of the game was from Tom Wright. I mean, you can disagree if you like, but for me, Tom Wright's try was the try of the game. I'm 99% sure it was off kickoff as well. And it literally came straight to Jorgensen, and he just skinned a few people, got up to what, maybe try halfway, and then poured off 10, then poured off 10 out the back to Ikitau to Suoli. Suoli weaved his way through a couple of defenders, one on one with Keenan at fullback, had Tom Wright in support, and Tom Wright was away. Honestly, like vintage stuff. And I literally would say, like, you see all these compilations, all these Andrew Ford compilations on YouTube of the best tries. You know,
Stop promoting the rivals, Zav. We don't want people to leave this channel.
but you can't dispute Andrew Ford. He's an inspiration. I'll maybe get Andrew Ford in the channel one day. But but honestly, that will be in I would say, if not top 10, top 5 top Lions tries of all time. And you can call me crazy, you can call me cuckoo, whatever. But I was just absolutely just like in awe about that try, especially how it came off kickoff, and especially how they were already leading. And I guess there was less pressure because they were 18 points to 3 up at that point, and then maybe a little bit playing with a bit more happiness about themselves. That can happen. That can lead to some moments of brilliance like that. But I don't know. I was just very fascinated by the try, and probably two of Australia's best players in Sue Lee and Tom Wright, in my opinion, as well, linking up there very well. Other try scorers, well, you had Slipper scoring his fourth try in 146 appearances. Now that's quite significant. 146 appearances. I reckon he'll go all the way into the World Cup. So I reckon he'll be very close to beating some sort of record, some sort of like international cap record. He might just fall short. I don't know. Alwyn might just still kind of pip it with his extra Lions appearances, because at the moment I think it's Alwyn Jones, Richie McCaw is up there. Eben Etzebeth won't be too far away, but I don't think he's quite there. But I think James Slipper also himself, he's 146 caps. I reckon he might actually get up to 160. I hope he does. It'll be a fair play for, especially a front row player. That's very hard to do in the front row department. So yeah, anyway, James Slipper, scored a try. You had Dan Sheehan. What do you make of Dan Sheehan's try? I think that was the opening try of the match. It was a slight spark in controversy, but I don't think it was controversial.
Yeah, well, I would agree with you there. I don't think it was that controversial. If he was upwardly, like literally leapfrogging the people in front, then yes. But it was more of like a swan dive. So there is a bit. You have to have a bit of leeway in that regard. Fair enough. We're biased. We're wanting the Lions to win. But no, it was refreshing to see such a contest. I mean, I don't know what you were thinking, but I was like, wow, I cannot believe how much better Australia are this week compared to last week, because in an offensive point of view, the Wallabies offered bugger all last week, but this week they were right on the money and going for it.
I didn't look at the possession stats or anything, but I'm going to have a fat guess and assume that Australia had far more possession, especially in that first half. Given the fact that they did score, well, I don't know about point, but similar kind of points wise, a little bit more, a few more points than last week, but more tries and more like kind of significant tries, more entertaining tries. They were playing rugby a lot more, opposed to just kicking hope. Like one of their tries last week from Jorgensen was just a box kick and a misjudge from what could have been James Lowe on the wing or Keenan at fullback, and then Keenan was it bounced into Jorgensen's hands in the end. But there was less of that this week, and it was a lot more controlled and actually flowing rugby from Australia. So it'll be very interesting to see the possession stats there. Again, but the second half, the Lions completely cancelled out. It was I don't even think the Lions were bad. They were maybe just unprepared for what was to come from the Aussie
I
pack.
would agree with that. I think there was a level of not arrogance, but I think they were expecting to win the game, and
Mm-hmm.
like everybody else, like myself, I was like, how are they going to try and like put a stop to this? I do think that halftime came at the right time for the Lions. I mean, you can argue about the halftime score just before then,
Mm-hmm.
but certainly for me, I mean, I thought, well, one, this has really shown the difference of Australia having another week together, because before the first test they had one bruising encounter against Fiji,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like they had any warm-up games. A
No.
lot of the players, albeit they weren't released for the club duty, but it was really only a handful of players that was out playing for the clubs against the Lions,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
Western Forces, etc. So that, I think, was the main reason why Australia were a lot better this week.
The Lions were 100% threatened, though. I don't know if you caught it, and I'm really annoyed I never took a note of the guy's name. He played for the Pacific team, but the Lions allegedly blocked the chance for him to play for Australia because of some sort of rule that because he played for the Pacific team the week prior or the 2 weeks prior he wasn't eligible to play for Australia. In the Lions, like they did kind of appeal it to Australia or the Australian Union, but the Lions said no. I'm kicking myself because I can't remember the guy's name. However, I don't think it would have made much of an impact because I think Australia had the strongest kind of squad out. Bar the exception of maybe a couple of boys through injury, I think it was our strongest side. And they had quite a strong bench, like Tizano. I mean, we'll get on to Tizano in just a moment, but Tizano coming off the bench, like he's good enough to start, but it's just because like Valentini, etc., was back this week. I got a back row of Harry Wilson at 8, McVeigh at 7, and Valentini at 6. That's heavy. That's very heavy. And again, like all three of them would be touching, maybe not Wilson, but like McWright and Valentini touching a world class kind of pedigree, if you like. And they matched up well against the back row of the Lions as well. I thought it was a very good contest, and that I thought it was a very even kind of contest. Tom Curry, again, possibly silencing critics, would you say? Getting another try. I mean, to
I
get a
would,
try
yeah.
to get a try in itself in any kind of Lions Test match. Never mind, I think that's 2-2 now. I would be led to believe. Could be wrong, but same with Sheehan as well. Sheehan's absolutely racking them in, but no surprise there. Dan Sheehan, I think he scored about in 100 and just north of 100 games between Leinster, Ireland, and the Lions. He scored 64 tries, or around
That's
that,
remarkable.
for a hooker as well. He scored. It would be just shy of, or it could be just over half a try a game, if you like, or 0.5 tries per game. If you're a winger and you're getting that, you're doing well. He's a hooker, and this is a new kind of generation of like kind of players and kind of hookers. He'd be good enough to play, or mobile enough and agile enough to play in the back row. He's not that he's going to, but he's also strong enough to play a hooker. And you see he pops up everywhere, and it's just formidable having players like Dan Sheehan. And for me, he's a future World Player of the Year. I mean, hopefully we'll look back on this in 2-3 years' time and I'm right, but probably won't. I'll probably be wrong. But it'll be interesting to see how far he can actually go. Well, that boy Hugh Jones scoring a try. I mean, how gassed were you when he went over? I was honestly, I was relieved. I was relieved because again, he was meant to be dropped for Ringrose because Ringrose was meant to start. However, he came out and said to Papa Faz that he had concussion symptoms, and so he said, "If in doubt, sit it out," which is of course the right thing to do. And to be fair, but like even a few years ago, a lot of folk would just kept quiet about that. But it just kind of shows the awareness that people have these days, and just kind of the awareness of how important it is just to be safe in a nutshell. So Hugh Jones got his chance because Ringrose sat out, and he took it again. Another brilliant performance from Hugh Jones, and I'm just so relieved. It's his first Lions tour, and he's had 2 test starts, and I'm praying that he gets a third. I don't think he will. However, I feel he deserves it. This whole tour he's been pretty spot on, whether he's with Tuipulotu or whether on Saturday he was with last Saturday he was with Bundy Aki. Last one, well, what other tries? However, I think we'll maybe mention the main one now. Hugo Keenan's try.
I thought, okay, I hope he grounded it. At first, I wasn't sure if he grounded it or not. The second time I looked at it, obviously there was other folk in the pub, so I couldn't have my phone in full volume, which was fucking. Imagine other folk coming into a public place, you know. Anyway, I will be honest. I have been mulling over the Jack Morgan clear out for a couple of days now, and I've got to be honest. I thought, yes, like some of the things that Joe Schmidt has come out and said, letter of the law. I mean, he was off his feet. That's, I think, fair enough to say. Which it does technically mean, by the letter of the law, that it should have been a penalty to Australia.
Yeah.
However, I have also been listening to Wayne Barnes's book at the moment on Audible.
Yeah.
And he says, yes, the laws are there, but you still have to use due diligence. Now, I don't know. Well, I mean, you're a fly half, so you won't really know about this. But in a clear out during a game, you're not always strictly legal, but sometimes you get away with things if the ref doesn't catch it. For instance, I've been in at the side before. If it wasn't such a pivotal moment that would decide a test series, then yeah, I probably would have said, you know, you should ping it. However, it was the correct outcome in my opinion. I mean, you've got to use due diligence. And as we've experienced as Scotland fans before, just because the laws are there does not always mean that they are right.
Yeah.
For instance, yes, he maybe have been off his feet after he made the collision, but there was nothing else he could do. And I'm sorry, but the Wallaby I mean, he made an attempt to rap and the Wallaby went flaying back, hands like that, and he was looking for something.
That was Tizzano.
If he got up and tried to bash back in, I would have been a bit more sympathetic to the Wallabies, but that's my kind of thoughts.
Yeah, it was Tizzano. Yeah, that's what I mentioned. We'll go back to him later on in the episode. See, for me, it's a really hard one because it is literally a case of the Australians are on one side and the British are on another. It is literally just like that. From all the social media outlets, from all the channels, all the rugby channels, and I won't mention names or else Andy will take my head off, but it is very much like whatever team you support, you're in favour of. Again, being as neutral as I can, when I first seen it, like I was waiting to see what the controversial thing was, because I heard there was a bit of controversy with Jack Morgan, and I was trying to see it, and I was like, I was really like, I thought it was from the breakdown over the far side of this pitch to start with, and then that one happened. Then I realised, like, oh, okay, I can see. Well, keep playing to watch the to see the try first. Then I'll come back to watch that actual pivotal moment. Which may I mention, Ikitau twice, 2 tries he was responsible for. First one was, can't remember who scored it, but he slipped off James Lowe, and he shouldn't have slipped off James Lowe, but he did. And they managed to get into the corner, and I don't know how he managed to get bumped off so badly from James Lowe from a kind of standing position to start with. The second one was Hugo Keenan's try, and Hugo Keenan managed to gas him on the outside, which I just don't think should have happened, because Ikitau was quite a mobile, athletic back. Yeah, okay, played a full 79 minutes by that point, but I don't know how he managed to get beaten on the outside, leaving Jorgensen vulnerable, because he had to either commit to Chesham, I believe it was, or come in and help with the tackle, and he committed to Chesham, trusted Ikitau to make a tackle, which he never. He seemed to be slipping an awful lot of Ikitau during the game, which wouldn't help him at all. And again, like during that try, it just felt very easy to get around him. And I was like, I didn't expect Hugo Keenan to score from there. I didn't, not at all, not any moment, apart from when he was literally just past Ikitau, and I was like, but I blame defence more than anything else. So I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. I think Ikitau will go home and think he'll be kicking himself more than anything else. I know people say, "Luke, you don't know what you would have done in that situation," that blah blah blah, but he'll be kicking himself and he'll be his worst critic. On to Jack Morgan though.
Yeah.
I believe the speed that it was at, and I will quote, I believe it was Martin Johnson or Lawrence Delalio. Any other minute in that game, or any other kind of game, i.e., like if it's just a regular club game, whatever, that is fine. Also, as you alluded to, the dive, well, yeah, I guess the dive from Tizano makes you feel even more so like in favour of the Lions because you don't want unsportsmanlike conduct like that, dissent, if you like, and that's where I kind of sway more. Like, okay, he was looking for that, opposed to it happened, and he could have maybe just went down and held his neck or something instead, and then Wilson could have went over once the try was scored. But right there, right then, he looked like he was deliberately looking to like force a penalty through foul play. We'll be getting position to be like fouled, if you like. It was very close, but at the end of the day, I think things like that, unless it's clear and obvious, and maybe this is a rule they've got to implement, unless it's clear and obvious, you've just got to leave it and just say, look, it's a rugby collision, and that's that. Sadly, that's the series over. Well, not over completely, but that's the outcome over. But I am looking forward to this Saturday, and I can't wait. I'm going to go down the pub, and I'm going to be drinking pints from 11 o'clock in the morning, hopefully, and I'm going to enjoy this game in Sydney, which will be, well, was hopefully going to be the showdown, which isn't anymore. But I'm sure this might be the best game yet.
I would agree with you. I think that certainly, okay, the Lions, they did need to dig deep to win the game at the weekend, but I still thought that there was a few more gears that they could click up to get the very best of them. I still think we're to see the very best of the Lions, certainly in
Mm-hmm.
an attacking sense in the
Yep.
backs. Yeah, that's a controversial take, I know. The same with the grunt up front. I also think that the Wallabies, yes, they have improved. However, they will need to step up because they don't want to be the first team in like over 100 years or since 1927 to lose a full series. And the last team that did that was Argentina. So
Yeah.
I think they're going to be raising their levels again.
Yeah.
And I mean, it goes without saying, unless Ireland go on a horrendous streak and never winning any Six Nations titles, if they win and make it 3-0 next week, I think Andy Farrell will be offered the next Lions job there and then. Because who else has went and won a Lions series? Albeit against, let's be real, lesser opposition to the All Blacks and the Springboks, but who else has gone and done a 3-0 series win?
Yeah, you've got a point there. And I'm going to, it might be a bit of a corny quote this, but the reason I think Australia will win this game on Saturday is because they have more. They've, in a sense, they've got nothing to lose, but they've also got more to gain in the sense of they don't want to have a 3-0 clean sweep against them, but also they've lost the series, so they can just go out and play and think, fuck it, we have got nothing to lose. And for the Lions, it's like, okay, the only thing they're really playing for is for that 3-0. But as you mentioned, it's against, and I'll put like quotations there because I don't want to like kind of knock down Australia too much, but a lesser opposition. It's not like a prime All Blacks or prime Springboks. It is a developing or like an Australian team that are getting there. So I think Australia, the cards play into Australia's hands quite well here. And I do hope they win it because I like to see a bit of an underdog story, albeit they've lost already. It'll be nice to see Australian rugby bouncing back, especially in preparation for the World Cup. It'll really mean something to them and they'll really kind of hopefully kick on from there. Because they're historically one of the best nations of all time. They've won the World Cup, what, 3 times before? Might need to, or at least twice, could be 3 times, it might just be twice actually. But yeah, so historically they're very, very strong. Is it twice, Andy? So historically, a very strong side. But aye, so that's my take on it anyway.
I mean, if they don't win this weekend, I mean, Joe Schmidt's stock will fall quite heavily. Yes, you're not wrong. It is effectively a meaningless game, but I think the quality of the rugby will probably be the best from both sides. It is the Vo show, so I will probably miss the game, but I'm sure I may catch a repeat of the game.
Oh no, absolutely, absolutely. Last one before we kind of shoot off. Who's been your player of the tests so far?
Well, I mean, he missed a few goal kicks, but I have to say Finn Russell.
Okay, okay. Here's one
Actually,
which,
no, I take that back. For me, it's got to be Tom Curry. I've been pleasantly surprised with Tom Curry.
yeah, I do. I actually agree with you there. If you were to go far forward, Tom Curry, without a shadow of a doubt. There has been other. Don Sheehan's been fantastic as well, but I'd say Tom Curry. And as a back, I'm actually going to say, and I hate to say it, actually no, I'm not going to go with Hugo Keenan. I'm going to go Hugh Jones. Hugh Jones has been my back of the tournament so far. I would go Russell, but I think again he's missed a couple of kicks. It's not mattered in the end, but I think Hugh Jones has been very, very solid in both games that he's played. And again, like I say, I hope he gets a third. But fair play to Tom Curry, especially with all the critics he's kind of had. But he's, like I say, he's a test match animal. On a big stage, he performs, and oh, what a guy! What a guy! Okay, right.
Oh, so we have lost Zav there. But yeah, thank you to everyone for tuning in this week, and we would like to thank you for your continued support. Be sure to catch us next week when we review the Lions Tour and make some predictions for the upcoming Rugby Championship. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to check out all of our socials in the description on Twitter, TikTok, both of our personal channels,